What if I told you that most men talk to women the wrong way and don't even know it? What if the reason you keep getting ignored, friend-zoned, or ghosted has nothing to do with your looks or money? Because the truth is, attraction starts with how you communicate. In this video, I'm going to reveal the ultra-rare secrets that 99% of guys will never figure out. Simple tweaks that can make a woman feel something for you within minutes. No more awkward silences, no more overthinking, no more games. Stick with me till the end and change the way you talk to women forever. For starter, first impressions start before you speak. Most guys think the conversation starts when they open their mouth, that the first impression is made when they say, "Hi." Wrong. The truth is, the interaction starts before a single word leaves your lips. Long before you get a chance to show off your sense of humor or drop a clever line, she's already picking up signals. She's noticing how you walk into the room, how you carry yourself, what kind of energy you bring with you. This is primal stuff. Before we're even aware of it, our subconscious is scanning for signs of confidence, presence, and emotional strength. So if you walk in with your shoulders slouched, eyes down, and restless hands, you're already signaling insecurity. You could have the best line in the world, but if your presence screams, "I don't believe in myself," she's already checked out. Game over before it even began. Now think about the opposite. A man who walks in calm, composed, and sure of himself. His body is relaxed but upright, shoulders slightly back, chest open. Not puffed out with ego, just grounded and balanced. His eye contact isn't aggressive, it's focused, deliberate. He's not scanning the room for validation, he is the validation. And that energy, that is what women notice first. It tells her you're a man who's comfortable in his own skin, a man who doesn't need attention, but gets it anyway. That's the real alpha energy. Not loud, not obnoxious, not try hard, just quietly magnetic. The kind of presence that makes people wonder who you are before you've even spoken. That's how you win before you say a single word. And here's the kicker. This energy can be trained. It's not something you're born with. It's a habit, a mindset, and a muscle you build every day. It starts with how you treat yourself. Are you walking like a man who values himself? Are you breathing deeply and calmly? Or are you tense and anxious with shallow breaths? Are you entering spaces with intention? Or are you just reacting to the environment around you? Confidence isn't something you switch on the moment you see a beautiful woman. It's something you cultivate in your daily life. How you move, how you stare, how you take up space. If you walk through the world like a background character, don't be surprised when women treat you like one. But if you start showing up like a man who knows his worth, even silently, they'll feel it before you even open your mouth. Your presence is your unspoken introduction. Your body language is your first sentence. And your vibe is your resume. Women are biologically wired to pick up on these cues faster than you realize. It's not about being perfect, it's about being congruent. Your words, your posture, your tone, and your energy should all be telling the same story. That you're grounded, that you're aware, that you don't need to impress because you're already whole. That's what pulls her in. Not the perfect pickup line, not flexing your job title or car keys. Just you, present, powerful, and unshaken. That's what makes her curious. That's what makes her want to talk to you before you even talk to her. And that's the kind of first impression you want to leave behind. Secondly, ditch the pickup lines. Be real instead. Let's be real. Pickup lines are dead. They're not clever, they're not charming, and they don't work the way most guys think they do. Sure, you might get a giggle or break the ice for a second, but more often than not, they backfire. Why? Because they're forced, scripted, and worst of all, they reek of insecurity. Think about it. When a guy walks up with a rehearsed line, he's not being authentic. He's hiding behind something, using a trick instead of his truth. And women can feel that instantly. They've heard every line in the book. From, "Are you a magician?" to, "Did it hurt when you fell from heaven?" Trust me, she's been through it all. What she hasn't heard is a man who talks to her like she's a human being, not a target, not a trophy, not a test. That's what stands out in a world full of fakery. The irony is, guys use pickup lines because they're afraid of rejection. They think a line will protect them from the risk of being real. But here's the truth. Realness is your power. When you walk up to a woman and say something simple like, "Hey, you looked interesting and I wanted to say hi," you've already separated yourself from 95% of guys out there. No gimmicks, no cheesy compliments, just pure intent. You're owning your attraction, not hiding it behind a joke. That's bold, that's masculine, that's what catches her off guard in the right way. Because while every other guy is trying to impress her, you're just trying to connect. And connection always beats performance, every single time. See, being real is not about being boring, it's about being undeniably honest. It's about having the courage to be seen as you are, not dressing up your words, not overthinking, not trying to be someone you saw in a YouTube video, but just showing up as you, calm, grounded, and curious. That's the kind of interaction she remembers. That's the kind of conversation that leads to chemistry, not cringing. Think of it like this. Authenticity is rare currency in the dating world. When you speak from a real place, it feels different. Your energy shifts, hers does too. And suddenly what could have been a forgettable exchange turns into a moment that sticks in her mind. That's not game. That's real human connection. Here's the magic. When you ditch the lines and start being genuine, you don't have to chase the perfect words, because it's not about saying something perfect, it's about saying something true. And when your words match your energy, when your tone matches your intent, it builds trust instantly. She relaxes, she opens up, because you're not just another guy trying to win her. You're just a man, present in the moment, not afraid to be himself. That's rare, and in today's world, rare stands out. So stop memorizing lines and start practicing presence. Stop trying to impress and start trying to connect. That's the difference between being forgotten and being unforgettable. Third, and the most important, is mastering the art of listening. Most guys think the secret to attracting a woman lies in saying the right thing, saying it with confidence, saying it with the perfect timing and swagger. But let me tell you a hard truth. The real power isn't in what you say, it's in how well you listen. Listening is the most underrated skill in the game of attraction. And it's the one thing that will separate you from every guy she's ever met who just wanted to talk about himself. Most men talk to impress, to prove their worth, to perform like they're on stage. But women feel attraction when they feel heard, when they feel seen, understood, and not judged. That's the gateway to trust, to connection, and to something deeper than surface-level attraction. Here's where most guys mess it up. She starts talking, and instead of actually paying attention, they're busy thinking about what to say next, or worse, interrupting, one-upping, or steering the conversation back to themselves. That's not a conversation, that's a monologue with background noise, and she can feel it. She knows when you're not really present. When your eyes say, "I'm waiting for my turn," instead of "I hear you," that kind of interaction dries up faster than you can blink. But if you flip the script, if you lean in, listen without judgment, and respond instead of react, you create something she doesn't experience often: emotional safety. And once she feels emotionally safe, everything changes. Her guard drops, her energy softens, and she starts engaging with you, not just talking at you. Listening isn't just staying silent, it's active, engaged, intentional. It means asking follow-up questions that show you care about what she's saying. It means being curious, not because you're trying to score points, but because you actually want to understand her world. It means catching the emotion behind the words, not just the facts, but the feeling. If she says she's tired from work, don't just nod. Ask her what part of her job drains her most. If she tells a story, don't immediately top it with your own. Reflect back something interesting or funny about her experience. This is where true connection happens, not in flashy jokes or stories about your hustle, but in the small moments when she feels like you get her. Women are intuitive creatures. They've been conditioned to deal with surface-level attention their whole lives. They know the difference between someone who's listening just to get in their pants and someone who's listening because he respects their mind. When you master the art of listening, you're telling her, without saying it, "You matter to me. Your thoughts are valuable. I'm here, fully present, not trying to control the outcome." That is powerful. That is rare. That is what keeps her talking, keeps her curious, keeps her interested in who you are beneath the surface. Most guys want to be remembered for their charm or looks, but she will remember the man who made her feel seen. That's the one she'll think about later. That's the one who gets the call back. And here's the beautiful part. When you become a great listener, it makes you naturally more confident in conversations. Because now you're not trying to perform, you're just showing up, present, open, and grounded. There's no pressure to say the perfect thing because your value isn't in your words, it's in your presence. You become the man who doesn't need to dominate a conversation to stand out. You let her talk and you guide the flow with intention, not ego. That's not weakness, that's emotional leadership. And women find that unbelievably attractive because it shows maturity, strength, and self-control. It tells her you're not just another guy chasing a reaction, you're a man who's in control of himself, and that kind of man is irresistible. So if you want to become unforgettable in her mind, don't just talk better, listen better. Listen with your eyes, your body, your tone. Make her feel like, in that moment, she's the only person in the world who matters. That's how you build trust. That's how you stand out. And that's how you become the guy she tells her friends about. Not because of what you said, but because of how you made her feel. Number 4, if sparking emotion, not just logic. Most men treat a conversation with a woman like a courtroom deposition. Facts, figures, achievements, LinkedIn stats, delivered in a tidy sequence meant to prove they're worthy. But attraction isn't a closing argument won with logic. It's a fire lit with feeling. When she remembers a moment with you, she won't recall your resume. She'll recall the rush in her chest, the spark in her smile, the way time seemed to blur for a second. Your job then is not to present data points about why you're a catch. It's to create a vibe that bypasses her analytical mind and touches her emotional core. Logic can earn polite respect, but emotion secures relentless fascination. So shift your mindset from convince to captivate, from explain to evoke. Because when you make her feel, you automatically stand out from the legion of men who only make her think. How do you do it? Storytelling, playful teasing, shared laughter that dissolves the invisible wall between strangers. Tell her a vivid sensory story instead of a dull recap. Paint the scene with color, sound, taste, smell. Let her feel the salty sea air on her face as you describe your wild midnight swim in Croatia. Let her hear the clinking glasses and rowdy jazz when you recount that lucky detour in New Orleans. Details, my friend. Details are emotional glue. And remember, playfulness is your secret spice. Lightly tease her about her overstuffed tote bag or her dramatic coffee order, then back it up with a warm grin that says, "I'm kidding, we're in on the joke together." This playful tension is emotional caffeine. It wakes her up and makes the conversation electric. She's not just processing words, she's riding a tiny roller coaster of spikes and dips that makes you unforgettable. But emotion isn't only about joy and laughter. You can spark intrigue, mystery, even a dash of vulnerability. Share a moment where you failed spectacularly and learned something hilarious. Show her you're human, that your confidence is real because it's been tested. Vulnerability, selective vulnerability, acts like conversational superglue. It bonds faster and stronger than endless bragging. And add mystery by hinting at a story you'll finish later, or mentioning an unusual passion without fully unpacking it. Humans are wired to seek closure. A little cliffhanger makes her mentally lean forward, craving the next chapter. Keep the emotional flavors varied. Laughter, curiosity, warmth, suspense. So the experience feels multidimensional, never monotonous. Think of yourself as a DJ mixing tracks. You're not stuck on one beat, you're shifting tempo to keep the dance floor alive. Finally, close the loop by anchoring the emotion to you. When the conversation ends, she shouldn't just remember that funny story. She should remember that you were the one who made her feel alive, seen, and lighter than she did 5 minutes earlier. Seal it by linking the emotion to a future interaction. You've got to try that hidden rooftop taco spot. Let's compare their salsa heat index next week. Now the feeling is tied to an upcoming adventure with you, turning emotion into anticipation. Logic might convince her you're a decent option, but emotion compels her to want more. So drop the sterile bullet points, light the spark, and watch how quickly connection follows. Let's get one thing straight. Real confidence isn't loud. It doesn't shout, brag, or dominate a room to prove its worth. In fact, the loudest guy in the room is usually the most insecure. Real confidence walks in quietly, owns the space without demanding it, and speaks with calm certainty, not with volume. Most guys think they need to project alpha energy by talking over people, cracking jokes non-stop, or acting like they don't care. But that's not confidence, that's noise. Confidence is when you're completely okay with silence, when you don't feel the need to rush, impress, or seek approval. It's when you're fully rooted in yourself, grounded, centered, and emotionally unshaken no matter who walks into the room. That's the kind of energy that turns heads without even trying. When a woman meets a man who's calm under pressure, slow to react, and grounded in his responses, she feels safe. Not just physically, but emotionally. And emotional safety is what creates deep attraction. A calm man doesn't need to prove he's the smartest or funniest. He's not competing for the spotlight. He is the spotlight. His presence alone makes others adjust. He listens more than he talks. He observes before he jumps in. He isn't reactive, he's responsive. And that's what tells her, this man has control over himself. That's rare and incredibly attractive, because in a world full of noise and ego, the calm man stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. He becomes the anchor she didn't even know she was looking for. Think of calm confidence like a lion lounging in the sun. It's not pacing, it's not growling. It doesn't have to, because it knows exactly what it's capable of. The danger is there, but it's not advertised. It's understood. That's how your presence should feel. Understated but undeniable. You don't need to tell her you're confident. You show her through your body language, your stillness, your unbothered energy. You're not rushing to fill every silence because you're not afraid of stillness. You're not clinging to the outcome because your worth isn't tied to whether she approves of you or not. That kind of emotional detachment is rare. It shows you're not chasing her validation. You're simply offering your presence. And whether she accepts it or not doesn't shake you. That's what makes her lean in. That's what makes her wonder, who is this guy? So how do you develop this calm confidence? You build it from the inside out. It's not about faking it, it's about becoming it. Start by getting comfortable with silence. Practice pausing before you speak. Get used to holding eye contact, not with intensity, but with relaxed presence. Slow down your speech just a little. Take deeper breaths when you feel anxious. These tiny shifts train your nervous system to stay grounded even when your heart's racing. And most importantly, detach from the outcome. Confidence isn't about always getting the girl. It's about knowing you'll be fine whether you do or not. It's about trusting yourself enough to show up fully and letting go of the need to control what happens next. That's real power, not force, but flow. Here's the twist. When you embody calm confidence, you actually create space for her to open up. Your steady energy acts like a mirror. It reflects back safety. She can laugh, play, be silly, be vulnerable, because your vibe tells her you don't have to perform here. And ironically, that's what draws her closer, because you're not trying to entertain her every second. You're just present, real, solid. And she starts to crave that energy more than the flash and noise of the guys who try too hard. So if you want to be the man who stands out, the man she remembers, the man she thinks about when she's alone, don't get louder, get calmer. Because in your calm is your control, and in your control is your charisma. The last but not least is, leave her wanting more. Most guys don't know when to walk away. They stay too long, talk too much, try too hard to keep her interested, and without realizing it, they smother the spark that was just starting to ignite. But here's the truth. Mystery fuels attraction. And if you give her everything up front, every detail, every emotion, every ounce of your time, you take away the very thing that makes her want to see you again. The secret is to leave on a high note, to walk away while her curiosity is still buzzing, while her mind is still replaying something you said. That's how you plant the seed that grows into obsession. Not by overstaying, but by making your absence feel like something's missing. Think about it. What's more powerful, the guy who clings to the conversation, desperate to hold her attention, or the man who ends it with a confident smile and says, "Let's pick this up another time," and walks away? It's the second guy, every time. Why? Because he's not chasing the moment. He's controlling it. He's not afraid of space. He knows that interest grows in silence, in the pause between interactions. He understands that anticipation is everything. When you leave her while things are still flowing, she associates you with good energy. She's left wanting more, wondering what would have happened next, replaying the vibe in her head. That's how you become the guy she keeps thinking about long after you're gone. Leaving her wanting more isn't manipulation, it's emotional intelligence. You're creating space for the next moment. You're letting the interaction breathe. It shows self-control, maturity, and most importantly, confidence. Because a man who knows his worth doesn't need to stretch every second. He values his time, he respects hers, and he understands that less can be more when it's delivered with presence. You don't need to reveal every detail of your life in the first conversation, as in fact, it's better if you don't. Drop hints, tease your stories, hold some things back, let her ask questions, let her wonder about you, because in that curiosity, attraction multiplies. And it's not just about walking away from the conversation. It's about knowing when to end the night, when to end the text exchange, when to stop pushing for more and let her sit with the moment. Most men get this wrong. They text too much after meeting her. They double text, they send follow-ups, they try to keep her attention. But here's the thing, you are the attention. Your absence is part of your presence. When you know how to walk away, you show her that your world doesn't revolve around her, that you're already fulfilled, already centered, and that makes her want to be a part of your world, not the center of it. That's how you flip the script. That's how you become the prize. So next time you're in a great interaction, don't milk it dry. Don't wait until the energy dips or the conversation hits a lull. Leave while it's still buzzing. Look her in the eye and say something like, "I've got to run, but this was fun. We'll finish this another time." Then walk away slow, calm, and confident. Don't look back. Don't overthink it. Just trust that you've done enough. And here's the wild part. When you do this consistently, you'll start to notice something. Women start chasing you. They text you first. They ask when they'll see you again. Because you didn't flood the space. You left just enough emptiness for desire to grow. Mystery is the oxygen of attraction. And leaving her wanting more is how you become unforgettable. Not because you said all the right things, but because you understood when not to say anything at all. That's a power move. That's high-level game. That's how you create long-lasting impact with minimal effort. So stop trying to finish every story, every joke, every conversation. Start getting comfortable with walking away at the right moment. Because in doing so, you create a version of yourself in her mind that's more powerful than anything you could have said. You become the question that keeps her curious, the memory that lingers, the presence she starts to crave.